Hey everyone, welcome back to Girls Don't Fumble. Today we're going to be talking about some very important topics that a lot of you have been asking us about. We're going to be talking playoffs. We're going to be talking about the current playoff picture. But first, Brooke, can you tell us a little bit more about what is going on in the NFL right now?
Yes, we have some very important quarterback news coming in hot right before we enter into week 16, which is very exciting and could potentially shake up the playoff picture. So, as you guys may have seen, the Atlanta Falcons have named a new starting quarterback. As you know, Kirk Cousins was the starter all season. They signed him to a $180 million contract at the very beginning of this season for 4 years. They thought they got their new guy. But now he has been benched due to his performance, and Michael Penix Jr., the rookie, will be taking his spot and he'll be making his debut as a starting quarterback. And this is very exciting. I remember when we were covering the NFL draft this past year, and the Falcons selecting Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 was probably the most shocking thing that happened because everyone was talking about their acquisition of Kirk Cousins and him like spending so much money on him that no one thought their number one priority in the draft would be a backup QB. And now look at where we are. The Falcons are, I believe they're 7-7, and they are currently second place in the NFC South. So they certainly have an opportunity to even like they could win their division. They're on the hunt for the playoffs right now. So they have decided we're getting serious about this. We are going to put in our rookie and we are going to see how that goes. Now, Noelle, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Michael Penix Jr. found out that he was the starting quarterback at Costco. What was he eating? This is like a quiz question. What was he eating when he got the news?
I actually don't know. I watched that video, but I didn't watch all of it. Like, I didn't get to the part where we know what he's eating, but
Okay.
it was a really sweet interaction where he was at Costco shopping with his girlfriend and he got the news and he was like excited and nervous at the same time, but
Yeah.
he's excited for the opportunity. And it is really great to see these rookie quarterbacks getting their start. And we have seen from this past season how maybe it isn't the best route to start starting a rookie quarterback right from the get-go. I think some have that dog in them and some maybe need a little bit of time to season up. So I am excited for Michael Penix, but anyways, is was it a hot dog?
It was a hot dog.
Speaking of dogs,
He literally
perfect.
metaphorically has that dog in him.
I felt it, and you guys, if you didn't know, Brooke and I we went to the Chargers game this past weekend, and I
Mhm.
wore this shirt. It was like a Kirkland shirt that says "I got that dog in me." So I think I just have hot dogs on my mind right now.
No, you like manifested this.
Yeah.
Like you put your Costco hot dog powers into the hands of Michael Penix Jr. Imagine being mid-dog at Costco getting ready
Mid
to buy
dog.
groceries in bulk and you get a call. Hello, you're the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, goodbye. Like,
Best hot dog of my life.
yeah, no, he said he didn't even eat it after. He
Oh,
said he
okay.
wasn't hungry after hearing the news.
That would
It's
be me
like
as well.
it's like diet starts today. I'm the starting QB. I can't eat this hot dog. So
Here's
no
the
more trash in my body.
Here's the thing, when the nerves come, like my appetite is gone. So
hmm
I don't know if that shows any strong signs of like, anyways, I have faith in
It's
him.
giving skinny. I love it. No, I feel
Yeah.
like it's a good sign. So yeah, he had a hot dog. He no longer has a hot dog, but he has a new job as a starting quarterback. So we are so excited for this, and that will definitely shake up the playoff picture for the Atlanta Falcons. Another really big piece of news this week that everybody has their eye on is Patrick Mahomes went out of the game against the Browns with an injury last weekend, and not people, doctors are saying it's a high ankle sprain,
Just those
which,
people.
if you guys don't know, is not a fun injury. This is the type of injury that can linger for at least 4 to 6 weeks. It would knock most players right out of their spot on their team. They would be probably placed on IR. Obviously, the Chiefs don't want to do that right before they are heading into the playoffs. But now they are faced with an interesting decision. It sounds like Patrick Mahomes has been practicing this week, maybe in a limited capacity, but it sounds like, and from what we know about Patrick Mahomes, is that he's capable of playing on Saturday. However, they kind of need to weigh whether or not they should play him for these games now. They've already clinched the playoffs, but they're
Yeah.
fighting with the Bills for that number one seed in that bye. So it's like, do you rest Patrick Mahomes now when he just got injured and hope that Carson Wentz can, be enough to have the team get a few more wins? The Chiefs need to win two more games to be able to clinch the number one spot. Um, yes, winning two more games, they clinch the number one spot, they clinch the bye. There's three games left, so they need to win two out of the three to make sure they get that bye. Or they can just basically say, we're going to give Patrick the next 3 weeks off. Carson Wentz in the defense. You guys do your thing. You get us those wins. But it's just a really interesting thing that we're balancing. I know he probably wants to play, but he also wants to do what's best for him as he prepares for the biggest games of the year and as the Chiefs try to do their three-peat. So Noel, what do you think? Do you think he's going to play this weekend against the Texans?
I don't think he will.
Okay.
I don't know. For some reason, it feels safer to me to play him when it matters most, which is a little
Mhm.
bit later and closer to the Super Bowl. Like, you don't want to risk it. But I've also seen Patrick Mahomes in years past where he has, he becomes he's already such a monster and people have so much praise to Patrick. And of course, he's very deserving of it all. But he played injured. I forget if it was last season or the season before.
Mhm.
And that even added more fuel to the fire of how good Pat and the Chiefs really are.
So
So I
true.
wouldn't be surprised if he's like, you know what, guys, I'm fine. I got
Yeah.
this. And he plays through it and he takes them to the Super Bowl again. Like,
Yeah,
couldn't write the script better. I could
exactly.
see that world as well, but you know, if you're the Chiefs and you want to play it safe, they're sitting them. But I feel like they're always ta taking frisky moves, and that's why they win. So
Yeah. But that injury for
we'll see.
Patrick Mahomes is different than if it was an injury on anybody else.
Yeah,
I feel like we wouldn't be speculating whether or not a quarterback was going to play with a high ankle sprain unless it was Patrick Mahomes, because like you said, he plays through injuries all the time. It almost like makes him, I think there's some stats about when Patrick Mahomes is the underdog, like when he's not favored to win, that's when he has his best games. And I think the same can be said about him with like injuries and how well he rehabs and works around the clock to make sure that he's prepared. Like
yeah,
he is the best at what he does. And I think he likes a little bit of a like, he's knocked off his pedestal. He likes a little challenge because he gets to come back even stronger. And
yep.
I really think it's going to be a motivating factor for him. And the Chiefs haven't been playing great. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing great. They're 13-1. They're on their way to clinch the bye, but they have not looked like the dominant team we know they are. So this could be the turning point in the season that we look back on as they heat up right before playoffs and maybe even
Mhm.
attribute it to the fact that Patrick Mahomes used his injury to propel him, which is why the Chiefs are so good.
Yeah, and I we talk about this a lot. Who knows if we'll see a three-peat? It's very possible. I
Mm,
also think it's a little interesting. This news just came out about 2 hours ago. We're recording this on Wednesday, by the way. Um, he was at an Eras Tour themed party last night, I believe.
really?
And
That is crazy.
Taylor Swift was there, Britney was there. I didn't really recognize anyone else in the photos, but I was like, I did click into the article. I'm like, is this the Chiefs holiday party? And they themed
Yeah.
it like
They themed
Eras
it
Tour
Eras
because
Tour.
everybody was dressed up in their sequins. Brittany Mahomes had like a very similar Eras Tour outfit.
Oh
Pat
my
was wearing
gosh.
the same outfit that Travis wore when he had his appearance. I think it was in Paris or London when he had the little
Hmm.
top hat. He was literally
Yeah.
wearing that outfit.
Oh, that's
So
so good.
he's good enough to walk. Throw him in.
If he's in his little top hat, he feels like
He's
he's like,
feeling
I got
good.
this. I'm feeling
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, I would love if the Chiefs like end of year holiday party was literally Taylor themed. Like
Yeah.
they
And like I
would.
was waiting for something to say Chiefs holiday party, but and I didn't see that. So a part of me thinks that it was an Eras Tour like celebration of for Taylor and they were
Yeah.
just guests.
Oh, that's really
Um,
sweet. That makes
but
sense too.
yeah, but we can report back. I more to come.
More to come. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about next is obviously we're kind of dedicating this episode right now to the current playoff picture. We're speculating what this could mean for the Chiefs and the Falcons. But for any of our listeners who maybe are a little bit newer to football or don't know all the nuances of the playoffs, we wanted to do a quick little playoffs 101 just to explain the ground rules and hopefully give you guys a better understanding heading into the playoffs this year. So to start off, the explanation. You first need to understand kind of the lay of the lands of the AFC, the NFC, these two conferences, and how many teams make it into the playoffs. So there's 32 teams in the NFL, and there's two conferences, the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference. And there are 16 teams in each. So they just split them in half, and then each of the conferences has four divisions each. And seven teams from each conference will make it into the playoffs. So 14 total. It seems like, oh, it's easy to make the playoffs, about half, but it's really hard to make the playoffs. Okay. So
Yeah.
seven teams from each conference. And when you are fighting for a spot in the playoffs, you are competing against your division and you're also competing against your conference for a spot. So the first place in each of the four divisions by conference makes the playoffs. And the first place team overall in that conference with the best record against everybody, they get the bye. So that's what we're talking about. The Chiefs, they're currently number one, but they are neck and neck with the Bills. So if the Chiefs start losing their last few games without Patrick Mahomes, the Bills can come in and take that bye. And the bye is so important because these are the most important games of the season, and getting that extra week of rest and not even have to worry about it. See the other teams go out there and beat each other up and stress out and use all their energy on the wild card round. You get to just rest, sit back, and start game planning for the next round. And I guess I should maybe take a step back and just explain the four different divisions of each of the conferences. So just each of them has a North, South, East, and West conference. So AFC North, AFC South, you guys get it. I feel like some like important conferences that are good to know. I want to start with the AFC North, not just because it's where the Bengals are, but I do feel like people really focus on the AFC North because they are very dominant. You have the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Browns. And as Noelle is watching, there is a Hard Knocks show on currently covering the entire division if you'd like to get to know them a little bit more. Another division that I find really interesting is the NFC North. So, same region of the country, but just lots of powerhouses. You have the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings. Both of them are currently at 12-2. So, they are dominating this season. You also have the Packers, sneaky looking really strong. And then, sweet, God bless them, the Bears are just kind of hanging in there. I can't go on Instagram without seeing a meme of like NFC North, and it's like a three-headed monster and then like a little like clown on the side, like of like the Bears, which is like so sad. Like we love the Bears. We are cheering for the Bears. We're like, they're near and dear to our hearts, but those are just some key divisions that I feel like are talked about a lot. Um, but again, you're all competing. Like it's hard when you're in a really good division because obviously you want to win. You want to get that first place spot because number one, you can compete to get the bye at the very top of your conference. But then you also get home field advantage once you enter into the rounds of the playoffs, which as sports fans know, it's so crucial playing a home game. You get all your fans there, you get all the energy. The fans get so loud in the playoffs. You want to play where you're familiar with. There's also, the weather implications, like who's going to be playing the Buffalo Bills at home in the snow? We saw like the Dolphins this season were not even able to play in the snow. I think it was against the Packers at all. And then the 49ers were playing the Buffalo Bills and got completely destroyed. It looked like they'd never played a game of football in their life in the snow. So that's something else that you want to make sure that you are playing in the elements in the stadium with the fans that you are used to. So we have first place in each division making the playoffs. So that's four from each side. And then there's three wild card spots. And those can be from any of the divisions. The three wild cards are simply just the three teams with the next best records beyond just the first place teams. And those teams will end up facing off against the first place teams. So when you are, say, if you have first place, you get the bye. If you're second seed, you will get to play the seventh seed of your division. Third place gets to play the sixth seed, and then so on and so forth. And that is the wild card round. And there are 3 games per division. So there are 6 games total. That's the math is checking out there. And then whoever wins those games goes into the divisional round, 2 games for each conference. And then finally, the conference championship, where you are playing another team in your division or your conference to decide who is going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl will always have an AFC and an NFC team. And then you play the championship. And it's so crazy. This is almost upon us. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that wasn't just word vomit for the fumblers. Maybe we'll put chapters so you can skip through that if you didn't want to listen. But it begs the question, as we're just going through all of this, looking at the rankings, looking at the different divisions. Noelle, trivia question for you is,
Yeah.
do you know which team has made the playoffs the most? Or made the most playoff appearances?
The most appearances, I mean, I just go back to either the Chiefs or the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
But when looking up this question, it is in fact the New England Patriots.
Woo!
They've made 27 appearances in the playoffs, and this is as of 2023. And looking into this year, very different picture for the
Yep.
New England Patriots. They have one of their quarterbacks, their starting quarterback, as they ended the season, uh, Drake May, who was drafted in their first round. And he hasn't been having the best of a year, but again, it kind of goes back to that conversation of maybe we should be, sitting rookie quarterbacks for that first year so they get a little bit more confident in the role, get to know the teams, the playbooks, and just grow that confidence. So maybe we'll see the Patriots once Drake has a little bit more experience. But yeah, the
Yeah,
Patriots it is.
I love that. Long live the dynasty.
Long live the dynasty. And shall we talk a little bit about the current playoff picture?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's do it. So I'm going to be speaking to what, as of today, December 18th, what the current playoff picture looks like. Obviously, we're entering into week 16. There are 3 more weeks left of football, and this can change at any rate depending on who wins their next 3 series of games. But as of now, let's discuss the current playoff picture, starting with those first seeds on both the AFC and the NFC side. So for the NFC side, we have the Detroit Lions. Their record currently is 12 and 2.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, the Chiefs have the first seed, again, not clinched yet for their bye for home field advantage for that first seed spot just yet. But they are 13 and 1, which is currently the best record in the NFL as of today. If
Mhm.
Pat sits out, we'll see if that changes, but that's where we're at right now for that first spot. And what that means again is they get that first round bye. But let's take a look at the wild cards. If things stay the same as of today, for the wild card spots on the NFC side, we have the Vikings and the Rams, which is the fourth and the fifth. Their fourth and the fifth seed. The Rams are currently 8 and 6, while the Vikings are 12 and 2. Green Bay and the Bucks, which are the third and sixth spot. Um, Green Bay is currently 10 and 4, while the Bucks are 8 and 6. And the last game for the wild card spot, which would be the second and the seventh seed, would be the Eagles, who are 12 and 2, and the Commanders, who are 9 and 5. Again, this can all change, but based on those 3 games, whoever those winners are, they'll move to that divisional round. Whoever those winners are, they'll move to that conference championship. Now, on the AFC side, again, we spoke to the first seed, which at this moment is the Kansas City Chiefs. The current wild card games, which will be those 3 games. The first are our beloved Chargers. They currently have the fifth spot. Their record is 8 and 6,
Or
and
their
the
seventh spot.
oh, sorry, the seventh spot,
I've
and
been watching.
the oh, there we go. And then they would play the Buffalo Bills, who are 13, 11 and 3. And then that second game would be, I'm reading something that's wrong then. Then the second would be the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers, who are the third and the sixth spot. And then the Houston Texans and the Broncos, which are the fourth and the seventh. That doesn't seem right.
I think what it is again, like this is like changing every weekend. So
Yeah, it
like
might have
don't take
changed because of the
I think
the
right the
Monday game.
wild card I know is Ravens are 5, Broncos are 6, and Chargers are 7. And so right now the Broncos would play the Steelers, who are the third spot, and then the Ravens would play the Texans, which are the fourth spot.
There we go. See, it's changing every day. I'm looking at the wrong graphic.
And that's the
Um,
thing is that, you know, by the time we release this episode, it could be after the Thursday night game and things could have shifted again. One division I have my eye on for this is the NFC West because the Rams and the Seahawks are both have the same record, but the
yeah.
Rams are currently in first place and the Seahawks aren't even in the playoffs as a wild card. And I'm like, that's where like it doesn't seem fair, but obviously there's such a science to it. They're both 8 and 6. And I'm just like really curious to see how the Rams finish off this season.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. As of today, there are 9 eliminated teams. I'm not going to name all of them, but sayonara. Maybe they'll see each other in Cancun. What is interesting are the teams in the hunt. As you mentioned, the Seahawks on the NFC side are one of them. There's the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Saints. And it's crazy because all of them have very similar records. It's like 7-7, or I think like 7-8. They're all very neck and neck.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, on the NFC side, or I'm sorry, on the AFC side, there are just three in the hunt, and that's the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Bengals. So week 16 is going to prove a lot to these teams. We're going to have some more eliminated teams that will be entering into that bucket, and it'll be goodbye to their season. But it is a very big kind of momentum week, and we're going to see which teams are, one step closer to getting to the ship, as they say.
So exciting. I know week 16 is a big one.
Yeah.
Um, Noelle, who would you say right now, either in the NFC or the AFC, would be a playoff team that you would not want to face? Like they're heating up right now versus a team that you're like, I could probably beat them. Not you yourself, but you as pretend you're the Bengals,
Pretending I'm the Bengals, then it'd be
of
the
course,
Steelers. It
that
would
you
be
wouldn't
this.
want to face.
I wouldn't want to face them because as of now, they beat us really badly and they're in our
Hmm.
division. Um, we play them a lot and they're actually our last game of the year. Um, and they're always just a tough team. Mike Tomlin just has something
So
going right
good.
now. Um, I think I'd be most scared of them or the Ravens. I mean, all AFC North again, like they're
Exactly.
they're scary guys out there.
Who would you want to
But
face off against?
I would say I'm really curious to see them play against the Broncos because, like,
Hmm.
man, what a run they've been having, and they have a rookie quarterback, and if they can't beat the Broncos, then like you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Like, let's pack it up, let's
Yep.
figure some shit out. So I would say the Broncos, but again, like very winnable on the Broncos side because the Bengals have a lot to prove with
Hmm.
their defense. I want to say the Bills, but the Bills are looking so good. Like we've had their
Terrified.
number
Hmm.
for the past few years, but this is a new Bills team, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. And I'd be a little scared if I was them. So I would say the Broncos, but we'll find out next week when they play them.
I know we're playing the Broncos. We isn't the Chargers on
Yeah,
Thursday.
we're on the team.
So yeah, me and the boys are facing off against the Broncos at SoFi Stadium. So I'll be at the game tomorrow. Pray for me that we don't have to watch another devastating loss at home. It's the last home game of the year for these boys. So
Yeah,
excited
it's
about
gonna be a good
that.
one.
Excited for the playoffs. We'll obviously continue to cover all of this, and we'll have more teams to report on that have either clinched the playoffs or fallen out of the race completely next week. But if there's anything else you guys want to hear about, as always, leave it in the comments. Let us know. Like, subscribe, follow for more, and we love you guys.
Yay! Happy holidays.